and welcome to my blog, melindadunn.com. Here we are today with Dr. Jennifer Nevels of East Valley Naturopathic Doctors. She's a licensed naturopathic medical doctor here in the state of Arizona, and she's going to talk with us a little bit here today about chemicals and the environment and our health. So thank you for being with us today, Dr. Nevels.
Thanks for having me.
How long have you been practicing medicine?
I have been practicing now for 9 years.
Can you tell us a little bit about your specialties and your scope of work in this last 9 years?
Sure. I specialize primarily in women's health and environmental medicine. I attended the naturopathic medical school here, and I've been a professor as well in gynecology at the medical school.
And you've been in publications and on Channel 3, and you're quite regarded as an expert in your field.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, a few years ago, you developed an interest in environmental medicine. Can you tell us, what kind of happened to get you more interested in environment and our health?
Sure. I've been practicing for 6-7 years and having great success with many different issues for my patients. And I hit a point in which I wasn't getting the same results. And so, for example, I treated successfully PMS with botanicals and diet and exercise, and most of those symptoms would go away in 90% of the patients. But then I hit a point where those patients weren't getting better, another subset of patients, and that led me to explore, well, what else could that be? And when I started investigating more, I thought, well, the environment plays a major role with our female hormones as well as many other things. And so once I made that link, I got training in environmental medicine through Dr. Walter Crinian's postgraduate program, and have been helping people to that next level.
Okay, that's great. So how are you linking environment to our health and environmental exposures to the condition of our bodies and energy levels and things like that?
Well, there are different groups of environmental toxins and chemicals. I can break those down for you. Basically, there's metal exposures that are ubiquitous in our environment. Mercury is from silver fillings that are in our mouths. Aluminum that is in pots and pans. It's in medications. It's in deodorants.
That's a lot of everyday stuff. Like, that's probably more than the average person would say, hey, maybe this is making me feel just kind of gross. I don't know.
Well, that's a problem that's not thought about as much in the medical community, I'll say, and maybe the allopathic medical community. So if I have someone who comes into me who's fatigued, of course, as a general physician, I do all the appropriate lab work to determine, well, what's the typical cause of fatigue, thyroid, adrenals, and if that's all ruled out and everything is fine, that leads me to explore the environment, because again, it's so prevalent everywhere that most people have this burden because they're exposed on a daily basis. And lead, is commonly found in waterways. So lead pipes would leach into water in anyone's homes who were built before 1978.
That's a lot of people's homes.
Right, and you drink tap water, you're getting that lead exposure, and it's storing in the body, and it may not manifest into anything really until later on in life. I mean, everyone has this tipping point. I kind of relate it to a scale, and we have different exposures that build over time, again through metals, and I haven't even talked about the solvent category yet. And then we hit one point, and it could be an emotional stressor, it could be an environmental one, we tip the scale, and then all of a sudden the fatigue begins. And again, there's a lot of dissatisfaction in patients because they've gone to their physicians, everything's been ruled out, and they say, I can't help you. And then they come to me obviously devastated and frustrated because there's something going on, but they're uncertain as to what it is, which is really where the environment part comes in.
So can you tell us a little bit about solvents and where those are found in our everyday lives?
Sure. Solvents are chemicals that are primarily found in things that are off-gassing. So what does that mean? New carpet releases these types of chemicals. Gasoline releases these types of chemicals. So perfumes, new paint. I mean, so if anyone's remodeling a home or they're at their place of work, those could be key tipping points too. And typically the bodies really should be able to get rid of these solvents and urinate them out, but oftentimes either from overexposure to these solvents or really the inability for their liver to break it down properly, it keeps them in the system longer. And the solvents have been connected to headaches and fatigue and anxiety and depression. And again, when everything's been rolled out and there's no cause, this is a common one.
So I think that would probably resonate with a lot of viewers. I mean, a lot of people will go to the mall and get headaches because of all the perfumes and, all the stores that are just, it's too much in one place. So can you tell me a little bit about a typical patient when they come to you? At what point do you decide to test for metals or chemicals? What is their health like when they come to you and what you've eliminated? And can you tell me a little bit more about a typical person who walks to your door feeling hopeless?
Absolutely. Basically, the typical patient is someone who's been through the system. They've been told that they're fatigued, they're fibromyalgia, their autoimmune disease like lupus, Hashimoto's, thyroid, hypothyroidism, that they don't really know the cause of why this is happening. And so that's a common place where I would then start exploring the environment and its impact, because there's been a lot of association between mercury and autoimmune disease, particularly in the literature and the research. And so that's where I would, go with these patients. Also, the chemical sensitivities, a key question is, are you sensitive to perfumes or chemical cleaners, or you walk into the mall, as you stated, or Home Depot, and you feel sick, and people don't make that connection, they are feeling dizzy or fatigued or get a headache, then we know that their bodies are overburdened and they can't process. So that would also lead me to perhaps do some testing to determine this, if this is a cause.
And then there's oftentimes patients that come to you with no, maybe autoimmune diagnosis like fibromyalgia or lupus, and they're just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I've got these weird rashes. Sometimes I can't think straight. Sometimes I'm fine. Can you help me? I'm sure you get a number of patients like that as well.
Yes. A lot of people come undiagnosed too. So I have to wear both caps. One is the medical doctor diagnosing lupus, but then also taking it to that next step, or just issues that have no diagnosis attached. A lot of patients have all these symptoms, but again, there's the dizziness, the headaches, the hives, just aren't explained.
And then a lot of people develop food sensitivities and allergies, right? And that's something that's really just maddening when you're going through that.
Yeah, environmental medicine is just one component of how I practice, and digestion is usually where I really start with patients, because that's the key. If you're not eliminating properly, doesn't matter what you're being exposed to, you're storing it in your system, because if you're not pooping, then it's not leaving. And so food allergies too. Just eliminating and doing a test can help determine if you're sensitive to wheat or dairy, or even things that you may think are good for you, like almonds, and eliminating that actually really helps the whole system.
That's very interesting. Thank you for commenting on that. So can you tell us a little bit about the process of detoxification once you've decided to go that route with a patient?
Yeah. Well, I always do testing first to really determine if this is an issue. So for heavy metals, example, there's 22 different metals that we can be exposed to. And so I typically do a chelation test, which requires an IV. And I kind of explain it as these are chelating agents that bind to metals if they are present in your body. And so if the body eliminates it in the urine, then we know that it's an issue that needs to be worked on. And so the same way as the testing, there are appropriate treatments, and everyone's individual, so everyone's a bit different based on the metals, or depression, anxiety, which we haven't even talked about, is a major one too. So that treatment varies based on really what that underlying issue is for that individual.
And solvents, it's a very individual detoxification process as well.
Yeah, that's a bit different too. We can do blood tests that determine if there are elevated levels. Being here in Arizona, where our pollution is horrendous, a lot of people have hexane, which is found in gas, in their system, in their bloodstream, and so we need to be supportive to these individuals by giving them glutathione or NAC. There are specific nutrients. Vitamins often are depleted in individuals who are toxic. So by really increasing that helps their body to really get the tools to eliminate that.
So can you give us some success stories about patients that you've treated, and what their before and after were like for the detoxification?
Sure. I've had a lot of different cases of individuals who have been affected. Let's start with depression and anxiety, where the anxiety has been debilitating, where they really can't function, and their thoughts are so negative that it makes it impossible for them to just deal with daily life. And after finding, for example, someone I'm thinking of high lead and mercury in their system, which affect the brain chemistry, and being able to remove that, they feel this freedom that they've never felt before. And these are individuals who have been on every antidepressant, every anti-anxiety medication, and still not found peace. So this really had brought them.
I don't think a lot of people know that chemicals can affect depression in your brain, like something that you're going to be exposed to from, your house or your drinking water or what have you. And there's so much shame attached with anxiety and depression, yet the levels keep increasing. So that's a wonderful tool to help people just feel happier.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Other individuals who have suffered from joint pain or eczema that hasn't cleared up, diarrhea, those things which, again, haven't gotten better with medications or even some herbs. I've seen patients who have seen many naturopathic physicians and haven't gotten to where they've needed to be, and they've made great steps, but until we've hit the environmental component and determined, what some other issues are that really help clean up, their issues.
You've also had a number of patients who, before coming to see you, I'm sure can't go to, Target to get something, or they can't drive their car without a carbon mask or without extreme lethargy and just, exhaustion all the time, who become, rejuvenated and are able to go do everyday life things. They can go to a restaurant. They can, just kind of live life again. And can you tell me a little bit about that's your general results with your?
Yeah, I think the patient individual awareness is so important, that even making the connection for some people who aren't even aware that going to stores and going to places are making them sick. And so being around places that are off-gassing perfumes or tire stores, whatever it may be. Actually, I've had people who shut down. They have to go home. It takes them a day and a half to recover from their outing. And with IVs, mineral supplements, glutathione, bowel movements that are regular, they can have a quality life. They can go to the stores without paying for it. And that is huge, to be feeling like you're squashed and incapable of living in the environment that everyone else lives in.
So we were talking about that, and one thing came to mind, the whole idea of brain fog. I think a lot of people don't know what that is. Can you just comment on that a little bit?
Yeah, brain fog can be related to a couple things, one of them being solvent exposure, most definitely, and that's kind of this cloudiness feeling where the fatigue affects the thought process, and so focus is so difficult. And I see that a lot with people who can't, again, process the solvents, and even candida, a whole nother topic, can play a role with this too, and that will go away hands down if detoxing is done properly.
So there's physical symptoms attached to a chemical exposure.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You see it in their faces and things. And all right, well, it's very interesting. I really appreciate all of that wonderful information. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, just a big one. I think the biggest thing is being educated and empowered to understand that what you're putting on your skin, for example, it can potentially play a role. What do I mean by that? I mean by lotions, beauty products, chemical cleaners. If we can learn and become educated about how to decrease that exposure just in our own home environment, that is huge. Because even and I educate each patient that comes to me, giving them proper tools to find chemical-free beauty products. Mm-hmm. Again, not using candles in the home. These are all fragrances. The Glade plugins, those are definitely a no-no. And a lot of people use them all the time and don't realize that they're poisoning themselves. So it's a lot of education to remove those things, so that at least your home environment is a safe place.
And that will definitely increase the energy levels and make it able for these people to tolerate going out into other places a little bit better.
Well, I mean, I think the most important space in the home is the bedroom. You know, I've had people get new mattresses, and all of a sudden they are completely sick, and they don't make the connection. And so that's, you know, having a good mattress, an air purifier in the room, and those are just a few things that can help help individuals have a peaceful, restful sleep, which makes, you know, a world of a difference.
Well, great. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for, sharing this with us today. And can you let our viewers know how they can contact your office?
Sure. Our website is www.eastvalleynd.com, and our phone number is 480-985-0000.
Thank you so much. I also wanted to add they have a fantastic blog talking about how to clean up your life, how to eat healthy. Very, very resourceful, written by these absolutely experienced and caring doctors. So I'd check that out as well on their website. So thank you again. I appreciate your time, and good luck getting more people to get better.
Thank you.